Here we have an animal that you immediately recognize because of its saber teeth. This is known as the Smilodon fatalis, also known as the saber-toothed tiger, but it's actually not a tiger at all, but everybody knows that at this point. Today we're going to be using VR to explore this creature and, just see what it was all about. Now looking at this thing, you'd think it bit like a motherfucker, but believe it or not, it actually had a weak bite force, about 1,000 newtons, comparable to the modern jaguar. The reason for this is the saber teeth were actually quite fragile, and if they bit too hard and broke a tooth, it would render them essentially useless.
Then it pounced. The animal would have first used its great weight to pin down its victim. Then it would have used its sabers like blades to slice open the soft flesh of its victim's throat.
The Smilodon lived during the last ice age in what was known as the Pliocene epoch. It went extinct about 10,000 years ago. California, where the Smilodon fatalis lived, was quite temperate for the time and never became completely frozen. The Smilodon would have frequented these more temperate areas. Smilodon fatalis would have favored more woodland-like areas with dense brush, much like how California's woody areas are today. Most of what we know about the animals from the Pliocene epoch comes from what we've found in the La Brea tar pits and other tar pits around. These areas attracted animals, and lots of them went in there and died because, fuckers do that, I guess. Not very bright. About 3.5 million fossils have been found in just the La Brea tar pits. As I said before, despite this animal having 17-centimeter machetes for teeth, it didn't bite very hard. These teeth were the animal's primary mechanism for taking down prey, and because of this, breaking them would have been a detriment to their survival, almost guaranteeing that they wouldn't. Californian woodlands provided the Smilodon with rich hunting grounds for its meals. Creatures like mastodons and prehistoric horses that wandered the dense forests were perfect prey for hungry Smilodons. Some creatures, such as the giant ground sloth, were fat as fuck and were too big for the Smilodon to attack, so it would target the babies instead. Fuck them kids. Something pretty scary about these fuckers, they actually hunted in packs, like lions, even though we call them saber-toothed tigers. Again, like I said before, they weren't tigers, not even a little bit. But yeah, those fuckers, fucking running in packs, gangs, running the streets, throwing gang signs.
These terrifying hunters had a rather touching side to their characters. Tigers today are solitary hunters, and when one gets too old to hunt successfully, it dies. But skeletons of really elderly saber-tooths have been discovered, which suggests that not only did Smilodon hunt in packs, but when members of the family were too old to hunt for themselves, they were allowed to take a share of the kill.
At first glance, the Smilodon looks very similar in its skeletal structure to the modern-day lion. However, upon further inspection, you'll notice it's much bulkier and better built. It's a much more robust predator. Despite being bulkier, it was actually shorter than the modern-day lion and also had a bobtail. This resulted in the animal being a lot less agile than lions.
This is Smilodon, a saber-toothed cat. Its enormous fangs gave Smilodon its name, meaning knife tooth.
And its skeleton is perfectly preserved because about 10,000 years ago it wandered into a pool of naturally occurring tar oozing from the ground in California.
Like I said before, most of what we know about Smilodon fatalis comes from fossils we found in the La Brea tar pits in California. Around 3,000 specimens have been recovered from these sites alone. Smilodon fatalis was not the largest species of saber-toothed cat. That title belongs to the Smilodon populator. This animal was massive, got up to 230 centimeters long. One of the most interesting aspects of VR is the ability to travel back through time and see creatures that you never would have been able to otherwise.